I just had a thought, and I have to think about it for a moment or I'll lose it. Okay, so we were talking about love. And I don't know if you heard anything on that last video or not, but according to Mary Jane, who showed up and said, I can't hear you. Is your volume up? And so I turned the volume up, but she still couldn't hear me. And I didn't think that the volume had to do with the microphone volume. I thought that the volume had to do with the speaker. Look at that. I have figured out there are two different things. Yeah, the microphone and the speaker. But the volume controls that I have don't mess with the microphone, I don't think. Oh well, okay, so we were talking about love. And I just got a comment from 8 years ago that I just read and I never responded to. I don't know if I read it or not. I've forgotten all these completely. So I think these are comments that I never read because for quite a long time I couldn't figure out what was happening to the comments. I think that might have been around the time that I made a labeled a file comments or something, or YouTube, and everything from YouTube went into that file, which might also be why I never see if anyone subscribes. People used to subscribe all the time. Now people don't subscribe anymore. Well, it's interesting. It is what it is, but it's interesting in the changes. Perhaps people really have moved over to TikTok. I I couldn't figure TikTok out. I got it once and I tried to figure it out and I got some little porn video on there and then I couldn't get rid of it and I ended up having to turn off my phone and get rid of all my open files in order to get rid of it. And after that I just deleted it. I thought, you know what? Everything you learn has a everything new one of these things has a learning curve. And now the learning curves are filled with a lot more filthiness. There's like I have to go and look through porn to find out how to work it. Like how to make it filter that so I'm not going to see porn. Like is porn such a common thing that they just put it on figuring everybody's going to like this? Like what a weird world we live in if that is actually the case, don't you think? Times have really changed, says the grandmother in the rocking chair. And you think, yeah, Grandma, you're just old. Isn't that a weird way to be treated? You're just old. No, I'm you with a million times more experiences. We're just the same. I've just been doing it longer. And she says things to me like about doing my hair yesterday. She says, I'm I have to do your hair now because you're too old to do it anymore. And I have more experience at it than you do. Because as far as she's concerned, I've always been old. She has no idea that we're the same, except I've been doing it longer. I never realized when I talked to old people, I never realized that they knew everything I knew, but they were also knew a lot more. Like that's not how they're treated. They're treated like they don't have a mind. They're retarded. It's really about the same. I guess when I was young, I mean retarded was a word when I was young and it meant people that were not at the same capacity as most people. And so you can call it what you want, but that's the only word that wait a minute, it's coming. This is from the more recent files. Physically disabled. No, mentally disabled. The mentally disabled. That doesn't seem to say as much as retarded did. Retarded was a very specific word that had a very, I mean, it's like schizophrenia, right? But it was not like a huge bad thing to talk about somebody as being schizophrenic. People don't even talk about being schizophrenic. Those are people that are, it's like the plague. No, not the plague. It's like leprosy. A person who's schizophrenic is like a leper in society. They feel like a leper in society. They seclude themselves from society. But we don't go around and think, "Oh, you call him a schizophrenic. Oh my gosh." People don't get all yarked out about it. But if you say, "Oh, you called him retarded? Are you serious?" So, um, or depressed person or lonely, like there's all these things that describe various parts of us, even our skin color. I was thinking about my skin color and thinking I'm not supposed to describe something including the most biggest thing to my eyes that there is the skin color. I mean, it's it's not like a little pin on the side. It's like you call somebody blonde, and to say they're blonde is not an insult, or that they're brunette or they're redhead. But how come when I start talking about the color right here, then it's a terrible thing? But I could probably focus it on the eyes. She had blonde hair, blue eyes. Well, who's going to see your blue eyes when they're um anyway? Clothing. Of course, you can talk about clothing. Some of these things just don't make sense to me. The world has sped on faster and faster down some place it's going. And I'm just still here. I'm thinking, my gosh, is that where they are now? They've got names for things like woke. Woke is something about if you see something and say it, like you're awake, you're seeing something. And yet now they're calling it woke, as if you're supposed to go through life with your blinders on and not see anything. And what is it you're not supposed to see? It's just, are you not supposed to see that has only got snow on part of the tree? Is that what's so important? And why is that so important? Or is it really so important? Or maybe you've been kept from being told why it's so. I'm sorry. But truth is here. Truth is right around us. This is it. This is what we have. We don't need more. And we don't need less. This is what we have. And it's all okay. This is the way, this is the set for this act in this movie I'm making. The set is over there is the birch bark. Over there is the kitchen. Oh, you can hear me now. Funny thing, eh? Sometimes perhaps I have other programs on in the background, but I haven't changed anything except I turned it off and on. So let me go back to what we were talking about. We were talking about love and the 4 things that hold a marriage together. So the first is to accept. And when you accept somebody, you accept them as they are with all their faults. You don't get all yarked out about, oh my gosh, he's so messy. Oh my gosh, he doesn't put the top back on the toothpaste. or he's a sloppy eater, or he leaves the refrigerator door open, or the bread gets stale, or there's all these things that you could think about and focus on. But or you could decide he's perfect because at one point you really decided he was perfect. And that's when you decided you wanted to marry him because he was just perfect for you. And if you've changed your mind, that's not fair. How about if he changed his mind? You were perfect then, but you're not perfect. Like, that's just like pulling the rug out from under you. You can't decide somebody has changed and that they're bad. You can't try to change somebody. You have to love them as they are right now because that is the way you are loved. All of you is loved by Heavenly Father. Not perhaps by your children, not perhaps by your husband, not perhaps by your friends, but by Heavenly Father, you are completely loved just as you are. There you are, Tyler. Well, the morning just wasn't the morning. It just wasn't the same, Tyler. I'm glad you're here now. Now I have a now I have a an image of what's happening because there's a respondent out there. Okay, so accept. So when you accept somebody, you know what their faults are, but you accept them. And it's okay that they're in that place because that's as far as they've come on that one subject. They've gone very far on other subjects. But that one subject, that characteristic, they just haven't developed that very much yet. And some of us come from a very, like we're way behind the starting line. So it's easy for some of you to develop those characteristics of godliness. And it's harder for others of us. Although we all start at the same time, we don't all get there at the same time. Because our challenges are not all the same. If all of our challenges were the same at the same time, whoa, there'd be death in a day. Everybody would be dead. But our challenges are all spread out. I'm sorry for that. But our challenges are all spread out. So I'm experiencing, my pain, the pain I have to live with and not being able to see and just coping. And the fact that I'm only 67 and I'm already like this. And what's in store for me for the next 30 years if I happen to be unfortunate as to have to stay 30 more years. Do you know how many more trials that is? 30 years, there must be at least 3 trials a day, right? Decisions that you have to make. I'm going to sit in front of the TV and do absolutely nothing and let my back get stiffer, or a decision, I'm going to go for a walk. Like we go through those decisions all the time. And in my case, the laying around one has been winning a lot. I want to go snowshoeing. I look out there and I think, I could go snowshoeing, and then I feel my body, and my body. There's no way that I could endure the pain that snowshoeing would be causing me. Today is a high pain day. Anyway, and so I'm not going snowshoeing. What am I doing? I'm inside. What can you do when you're inside? Well, if you were outside, you would walk around a lot and sit on a tree stump. Well, inside, what do? Do you walk around a lot and sit on a tree stump? No, duh. You go sit on the couch and watch TV, or you sit in your chair with your legs up, or you stand up and that's why I've accomplished so much of that fleece. That's why I've accomplished so much of it is because I have needed to stand up and to stay standing up, and I'm not into cooking. Maybe I should get into cooking. Really, maybe that would be a really good thing to do. I think I gave up cooking when I couldn't use cheese and milk and flour and rice. I mean, what was left? And then at a time we gave up meat. We still don't eat very much meat. Well, we eat sometimes. Bacon. There's always an excuse for bacon. We eat a lot of nuts. And so nuts and fruit and dried nuts and chips. Yes, I'm admitting it. Lay's potato chips and no name corn chips. No frills or no name, I guess. And I have gotten into really, I have just fallen completely off the wagon. I've been eating ice cream sandwiches and popsicles, ice or creamsicles. I've been, and I've been eating cookies. They're bear paws. All these boxes of bear paw cookies that we got that the children won't eat. So there we have it. All right. So accept. So it, I decided he was perfect, and any evidence to the contrary was therefore false. And I went into my marriage thinking that, with my eyes wide open, that Willem was perfect. And any time I found something that I didn't like, I had to just accept it, that ignore that I don't like it, get off of that bandwagon, forget about it, and just accept it, that that is part of being married to this perfect person. There weren't very many anyway. They were very tiny. But the thing is that if that I accepted him as he is. And he appreciates that. Like, he really appreciates being completely accepted. We talk about it, you know. He accepts me exactly as I am and loves me. And I accept him as he is and love him. We talk about it now and then when something bothers me, like him being on the computer all the time. But I accept it, but that's him, and that he can't be for me what I happen to need at the moment. He can only be who he is, and that's who he is. And that's okay, and I accept him. Okay, so accept. Appreciate. Now, most of you probably don't ask your spouse to do things for you all the time, but I do. And I think, well, my back hurts now, and that's why I've done it now. But my back is always hurt. My back is hurt in that chair forever. My back is hurt upstairs in that other chair, you know, and in that other chair. And standing, I've always been unable to stand more than 3 minutes, and sometimes not that long. Sometimes I can stand longer. When I'm snowshoeing and I stop. But anyway, in general, my pain has not changed. I don't know. I think it has gotten worse. But I don't know, because when I had Elida, I remember pushing her on in the stroller through the woods and thinking and saying aloud to Willem, "Can you imagine having one whole day without pain?" And he looked at me like, "Do I admit that I never have any pain? Or you have pain every single day?" I think that he's always been aware of how much pain I'm in. You know, we had three more children after we got married, and so I would hold children on my arm, you know, and that would mess up my back. And I would pick them up from wrong, you know, like over the edge of the crib. My mother used to warn me, never pick up a baby reaching in over the crib. People don't seem to have babies anymore, do they? Do they? Like, when I was having babies, everybody was having babies. There was lots of babies being had. You know, there were 30 children in my daughter's class, which was in a rural area. Very rural. How could there be that many babies among so few people? It was a really small school. It, having Willem in your life is the luckiest thing in the world. Absolutely. And I see you probably use the word lucky because you work in a casino. I don't use the word lucky. I use the word blessed because I don't really think anything is luck. I think it's all tender mercies. Tender, the Lord reaching his hand out. Here, another feather on your path. Here, look, you can have this too. No way. Are you kidding? Thank you. So appreciate. So I will start over. So we have a happy marriage and love. And how do you have that? 4 things that I have found that help you stay married forever and in love. First is accept. When you feel completely accepted, you really appreciate that. So many, because it is rural. Yes, that's it. Thank you, Mary Jane. Sometimes I need a little help from my friends. Joe Cocker once said that. I wonder what he was going through. Oh well, let's not go there. So, oh look, oh my, look, it's snowing. We may have to pause the lecture. Wait a minute, here's where you could really sit under there. Doesn't that look like a beautiful place to explore? Like, doesn't it make you curious? What's over the edge? Yoga or drugs is your key dealing with pain. Yes, I think you're right. You're right. You can't just bite your teeth, grin and bear it. I really see why I need yoga. Like I really should go and just sign up for yoga in the town. The town has a yoga business. Somebody in the town has a yoga business. I should go and sign up for it because the clinic doesn't have it this year and the other clinic didn't either or I didn't get in on it. Okay, so we've done accept and now we're on appreciate. So I think it's very important that you say thank you for everything. Thank you for opening my car door, which never happens, but thank you for feeding the cat. Thank you for, I don't know, putting your boots in line. Thank you for being nice to me. Thank you for getting me that. Thank you for getting me something else. Now you're hunkering down. Is that because you're realizing that it's hopeless to expect me to get up and get you stuff? Because I am not your servant? You, however, I am to you like Willem is to me. But you have to appreciate me. And so I think by sitting down like that, you're becoming to appreciate me more and to accept me. What? You're talking again? Now what are you saying? Listen, I hear things. Oh, you hear something over there too. Do you think there's a possibility you'll see a mouse while you're waiting? How close did the mouse come to you? The mice. Now, can he see from there through this window over here? Let me zoom out so this makes more sense. So there he is. Can he see across and through this window? See, from one to the other? Not if he's looking that way. Okay, I got it. Okay, sorry to have to leave you, kitty cat, but I have to say things. So I don't look nearly as good with my glasses on, so I'm going to take them off. There. Now I look beautiful. Okay. And that makes me smile when I think I look beautiful. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful. And then while I'm smiling, I'm happy. Is that Mary Jane? What is that? Nancy, you're not keeping up. Hurry up. I want to hear what you're going to say. Okay. Appreciation. dot, 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 question mark. Okay. So appreciate really means a lot of time spent saying thank you. It really becomes a lot of the conversation. And you use good manners with each other. And you say please and you say thank you and could you and if you have time and would you mind. You never make requests. Willem, get me that. I would never say that. Willem, if you have a moment, help. Mary Jane's sitting there listening saying, Nancy, I've been there. You can say what you want to say, but I know the truth. Well, I'm going to say what I want to say. I'm going to block out the truth. Okay, so appreciate. Accept, appreciate, adore. To really adore someone. You know, like you adore a baby. Oh, come let us adore him. But you look at a baby and you really adore a baby. Baby is so innocent. Even animals adore the babies. You know, like if a child is outside playing, the deer doesn't run away. Isn't that amazing? The child is jumping on the trampoline, making lots of noise, and the deer doesn't run away. The deer is nearby and looks over and keeps eating. That's amazing. Did that really happen, or is this just a figment of my imagination? You're pretty polite most of the time. Thank you, Mary Jane. Whew, I worry about these things. Okay, so accept, appreciate, adore. And when you really adore someone, you have to tell them. You have to go over and give them a squeeze, you know. It's usually Willem's head because he's sitting in his chair. So I go over and I put my head on his head and I squeeze his head. And I kiss his head and I tell him I love him. You're so wonderful. You do so many things for me. You're just so wonderful. I am so blessed. Thank you for being such a blessing. And he says, oh, I'm blessed too. Oh, you are the same. You would do it for me. I don't know, I'm pretty selfish. Anyway, so adore. And adore him like we adore the Lord because he's so good to us. And he does so many things for us. And it's like, how? How come? I mean, why not over there? Why not over there? Why here? So I guess I do see his hand in my life. I just wonder why I see it in my life. Maybe he is doing all these things in everybody else's lives. Different things at the moment, things that take a day to do. He's doing them over there with them, while he's already giving me this over here. Heavenly Father, he walks with us wherever we are. Or Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is like the friend our Father sent us to go with us through life. Here, and not only do you get to go down there and be tested, but I'm going to send you your best friend. I'm going to send my son, and he can be your best friend, and he will guide you all the time. Okay, so we are on accept, appreciate, adore. Okay, I gotta go back because they're out of order and I can't remember what the other one is now. Accept, adore, appreciate, admire. That's the one. Accept, adore, admire, appreciate. Accept, adore, admire, appreciate. They're in alphabetical order, just so you know. I just did that little calculation right then, right there. Okay, so here we have the last one is number 4. Admire. So, if you think about a lump of clay, a lump of coal sitting in a chair, that's like part of our potential. That's our negative potential. We're on a continuum. We're somewhere on that continuum. And the sitting in a chair as a lump of coal is our potential. But also using all of our muscles for much good is also in our potential. Of course, pain is probably going to be with us either way. Might as well. Well, it's not in there as much if you're sitting down. I realize why old people sit in rocking chairs. But me? Am I an old person yet? I mean, you tell me. I don't think I'm an old person. I think I'm just me. My mother-in-law's 97 and she's just like she was when she was 30. Like that's when I met her. Not 30, 40. I was marrying her son and I was 35. So she was probably 55 when I met her. Ton was retired and they were traveling the world. They were having the ideal life. In fact, when he died, they were on a beach in some unknown country, not unknown, but maybe they were in Turkey, laying on a beach. They used to love going to Turkey. We went to Turkey a lot. It was interesting writing down all the places that Willem has been. Spain and Portugal, Italy and France, Switzerland, and of course Holland, and Germany. And he's gone on holiday in all those places. Like that's because that's where they lived. They lived in the middle of all those places and they just go, so many hours this way or that way or that way. But back in the day, they would go to Italy or Spain. Those were in the days of really old, bad roads. So it took them a few days to make the journey. Just to Spain, the mountains in Italy and Spain. I remember being at the top of the Alps in Switzerland, the very top, and being told that was Italy, and that was France, and that was Germany. I don't know if we could see all of that from where we were. We were at the top of Jungfrau Joch, which is the highest mountain in Switzerland or in Europe. What about Mount Everest? That's not in Europe, that's in Nepal. I don't know. Anyway, I was up at the top of that and I was seeing and realizing that, and people were talking about having hiked and that they have hiked across the mountain from Switzerland into Italy and Switzerland into France and Germany. Maybe they're not all from Switzerland. Maybe Switzerland can't be in. Those are 3 big countries. If Switzerland is tiny, how could it possibly touch those 3 countries? No idea. Oh, one would be this way, one would be that way, and one would be that way, and they would be in the middle. Okay, that's all right. If they're only touching 3 countries. Okay, so we're back here on admire. So what can you admire? 1, I can admire that everything that is done above being a lump of coal in a chair. I can admire that you went out there and you shoveled and your back was getting tired and you shoveled that long. You shoveled until your back got tired. That's a lot of shoveling. And of course you have to sit. Of course you do. You have to stop, and you should have a chair out there. Why don't we have a chair out there? Oh, we do have one, but it's under 2 feet of snow. Okay, nix that idea. Well, I have a nixed idea box. I should have a nixed idea box. I should write all these nixed ideas down and put them in the box. What a wonderful idea. A nixed idea box. Well, I'm going to have to write that down because it's going to be gone right away. Ugh. Unless somebody would please comment about nixed idea box in the comments, and then I'll be able to find it afterwards. Because I don't think I'm going to find the pen without moving and being something above the potential of being a lump of coal in the chair. Okay, so what can you admire? I mean, I admire, Willem gets his haircut. He has this really short haircut, and it's really nice. It looks really nice. And I can do this with my hands, and it's just sort of bristle. I mean, it's this tall or something, but it's soft, and it's white, and it's really nice. Imagine having white hair. Isn't that something? I used to have dark hair, black and brown or whatever. Brown to me was always called red. And of course, brown hair to me is very, very dark brown. To me, brown is the color of dried hydrangea flowers. Would you like me to show you? Oh, it's also that beautiful color of bookcase behind me. There, see that beautiful hibiscus, or not hibiscus, hydrangea? See, isn't that a beautiful color? Well, to me, that is always called brown. But if it's your hair color, now it's called red. And yet your hair is not red at all. It's this color, which is brown. It's the weirdest thing how people have changed that. So just to make it so confusing for me. See, it's snowing. Okay, so I know that wasn't anybody's idea. Top maid, come on now. I'm on live. I want you to come here. She just replied, thanks for your lovely and interesting, I don't know what else. But she's the one that was talking about love and how love makes the world go round. And I agree that love makes everything better. My goodness, look at how tall he's standing. He's standing right up. I think he's looking through the windows. I think he's seeing something of the reflection of that window on this window, and now he's out there to investigate what it was he saw. But he can't find it because it's not there. I think he really doesn't want to go be outside anymore. I think he really is. Indeed. Are you want to come in? Have you almost given up on me? Oh my goodness. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we did it. And we're on our way. Kitty. Here, Kitty, come to the other window. This is why people walk all the time. Because if you walk all the time, you don't get so stiff. Oh my gosh. Hi, Kitty. I really need my walker. What is this? What's happened to me? You know what's happened to me is I've eaten everything that I have given up that makes me hurt. Now everything makes me hurt. Okay, so we'll just walk around the room here for a little while. Hey, get off of the table. Those are my grandma's dishes. Get off. Come on, get off. Oops, off. Oh, it's 8:45. 8:45. That means I get to play with children today. How am I going to manage that? Luckily, they don't really need to be played with as much as they did at one time. Okay, so what else can you admire? I used to admire that Willem would. I'm going to have to not sit here and be close to the. Ugh. Will you get off of that table? You can't just keep doing that. And will you let go? Thank you. Okay. Oh my goodness. So what else can you admire in your husband? I used to admire that he would go to work. I really admired that about him, that he could just do that. He could just go to work and do it every single day. I couldn't do it. There's no way. I just could not. I tried doing some things, but it cut into my time. And I just couldn't focus on stuff like that. And I would say, well, I could get a job if we need, if things are tight, I can get a job. And he'd say, no, let's just see if we can manage. And so I was able to be a mom at home. I know that people don't like the idea of a mom at home anymore. And it's the weirdest thing ever because it's like the very best job in the world. It's so fulfilling and it's so much a part of you, and you grow within it all. You're making like all these children and they grow and become family, or they are family, but they grow and be and it's just wonderful. It's wonderful to be a part of something like that and to be at its root. Like, what else have you ever been in on at the ground level, right? It's so easy you get a job, you're getting a job into something that's already well established, and you're just one more cog in the wheel or something like that. Isn't that beautiful outside? There's a lot of white. And the white is, it makes it difficult to see out in the daytime with the camera. And in the nighttime, it is so awesome because it's white. And so if there's moonlight, the moon is shining everywhere. I mean, none of the light is getting absorbed into the ground. It's all getting reflected. Of course, then you're living in a place with just white sky, white ground, and a bit of gray on the edge between them. Winter is a very interesting season. It's really a nice season. I just love it here in the winter. And I love looking at that hill over there. Isn't that awesome? What a beautiful hill. All covered with snow and with trees. And it too drops right off, just like the hill on our house, under our house, and then under the end of Deer Meadow. But then it makes a long line going back this way. Now, all these long lines like fingers. It's part of an esker. We're on this big flat area in between. Like there's this one and there's that one and there's that one, and then behind that, they like keep going. You can see behind that one. You can see there's one ridge and there's another ridge. Or there's the line there, And there's the other line there. And that back there, there's quite a valley in between, but there's a ridge, this ridge here in between. Would you like to go out? You just need your head scratched? Could somebody please do this for me? This is really hard. Okay, well, come sit on my lap. I'll do it. I can be a good mommy for you. Oh my gosh. There, back in my rocking chair. Okay, so admire. Okay, what can you admire? You can admire a person's hair, their mind, their spirituality, their knowledge, their interest, curiosity. You can admire, well, Willem and I can't hear each other, so we are getting old, aren't we? We look like that old couple in the pictures. It's really weird. Especially Willem, he's 73 now. Almost 74. This is getting a bit risky. I mean, he's getting old. Like, he could die. Of course, I could die. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, so admiring. We could admire the view. What else do we admire? Your muscles, your ability to carry things, your ability to play the piano, your ability to go for walks, your ability to write music, your ability to learn Spanish. He's almost fluent, you know. He's just been doing it himself. He's just teaching himself Spanish. He watches Spanish videos for about an hour a day. Maybe half an hour. I think it's an hour, though. He answers the questions. He's got these own tests that they make up for him, and he puts words in, and he watches videos and learns about using this with that or that with that. You know, there's a lot to admire about Willem. You know, he drops what he's doing 1,000,000 times a day to help me. Like, he's always done that. I've thought perhaps it was because he felt for me having so much pain with the little children. And maybe he felt a bit guilty that he was getting off so easy in the raising of our children as far as having pain. I don't know. But anyway, I just admire so much about him. He has a PhD. I couldn't do that. There's no way. I mean, I can pilot deep, higher, and deeper, but to stick with that for that long? Of course, I've stuck with raising children, I guess. But it's weird to think that my life's work of raising my children, that it's over. And now I've retired from that. And what is important in my life anymore? Really, what is it important that I do? Go shopping and watch television? What? There must be something important that I do. This has puzzled me a lot for many years. Sherry here goes volunteering all over the place. She gets involved in things. And she has a friend that does it too. And they get very involved in these helping people things. Volunteering. Volunteerism. But every time I think about volunteering, I think about driving people to doctor's offices, and that can't be very interesting. But I think I've got the wrong attitude. As you can see, that was my attitude, and I think I need to do some attitude adjustment. You see, I just focus on what I need. I need to volunteer so that I can be happy. It's quite a thought that um, my job, since I was 21, was to raise a family. And now I have raised my family. My grandchildren come over now. But when the grandchildren are not over, even for one day, there's still some purpose to my life. I'm still involved in helping out. And I don't have time to volunteer, really. I guess I could do during the day, but how would I do it with all this pain? Maybe I wouldn't have this pain. What if I went and got a job at Walmart? That seems to be the trend, is old people welcoming people coming into Walmart. If I could just sit there on my walker all the time, but I would end up getting a little bit more interested in moving around. And I would probably start walking a bit here and there. I would probably develop some muscles. It's amazing how when your number of days on the planet clicks past a certain one, it was a squirrel. So what was I talking about? When your days on the planet click past a certain one, then something happens. I forget what that was. Something about your this anatomical progression we're making. And so we've always been learning about our bodies, but now we're learning about things that we're going to be learning about these same things forever. Once you start getting rheumatism or arthritis, you don't generally get rid of it. But if you go to a strictly vegetable diet, vegetables and beans and foods like that, if you go to a strict diet like that, then you can get rid of all your pain. I believe that to be, I remember what it was, your muscles. There comes this day, some arbitrary day marked on the eternal calendar, when your muscles will start to go. Anatomy lesson number, 4722. And once your muscles start to go, I think the first time you notice it is when you're opening a jar and it's the weirdest thing not to be able to open a jar, because you've always opened a jar. Now suddenly you can't open a jar. And so you do all these things so that you can still do it. Like you get this great big V thing that has this major handle, and then you push it with all your might, and then you can open the jar. So theoretically, you can still open a jar. That's another thing I admire about Willem, that his hands, that he can still open jars. But now when you admire something, should you admire something that is sort of out of their control, or something like their muscle ability? Or would you admire them about something that's completely within their control, like stick-to-itiveness to learn Spanish, or stick-to-itiveness to do the dishes? Like he has to sit down a couple times after doing the dishes. He'll do the dishes for a while, Then he'll go and have a rest. He'll be on his computer and do stuff. And then he'll come back to it. Then he'll go sit down. And it may take him a few times to do it, which to me is just, well, first of all, I couldn't get up and do it any of the times that he's doing it. Now that's a scary thing to admit, that on my own, how much could I really take care of myself on my own? I mean, the time is supposedly always comes when men die before women. If he dies before me, just like my father died before my mother, can I take care of myself? Can I do the things I need to do? What do I need to do? Nothing really. I can get a box of crackers and eat them. Or I can, in the morning, yes, I've gotten pretty good at seeing this. Isn't this interesting? So I've been adapting for a while. That's interesting that I have been adapting to this situation for a while. So my adaptation is not only knowing that I have energy in the morning from whatever time I get up till noon maximum. And if I'm going to do something, I have motivation, which is even more important than energy. I have motivation and energy in the morning. But afternoon, I haven't got much motivation. I may have a bit of energy, or maybe the other way around. I may have a bit of motivation, but I have no energy. I think it's better if you do it in spurts. You don't try and clean out the whole thing, but you just do work for a few minutes and then sit and admire the view, and then work for a few minutes and sit and admire the view. Because it's such a beautiful view, don't you think? Ah, I just love it. I guess you've sat and looked at this view for a while. Have you got pathways now that you've found in there? I've been putting the deer food, like right here. Look at what's happened. This is what was on the roof. It all fell off the roof onto the deck. That's why we have a wide deck. So you can walk around this pile, and you can't really anymore. It's too big. It's just too much. Much too much. There was ice in there. And yet it all came off a few days ago, but this is new. How do we end up with this much new snow? Guess I wasn't paying attention. So I feed them. You can see this little brown spot right there. I feed them there. And I have also gone around the other side through the teacup trail back in there and reached up and put food in there. So this little area, you can access it from right here, little stairs down. And then there's this pathway, and usually this elm tree, there's two elm trees. Anyway, no, that one's an ironwood. No, they're both elm. Yeah, these are two elm trees, and they're sheltered. And they create this beautiful open area in the winter. And the pile is not really the landscape. The pile is where the snow is pushed, which is so cool because it doesn't look like the snow that's pushed. It looks like the terrain, like they've got to come up over the hill to look in. The little deers. What do you see in there? All you folks that are busy and not talking? Of course, I have all these wires here. This orange wire is unplugged now, but this was to plug in the light, which illuminates the stuff at night. That's quite a nice thing to do in the night, is to come and sit here and look out at that illuminatedness. And put this light on really low. Oh, I can't make these funny angles anymore. Oh my goodness. I think it's just because I just put my back out. I'm not always like this. Okay, so did everybody get that about the 4 ways to keep your marriage vibrant and happy and healthy and full of love? Accept, appreciate, adore, and admire. and think of your own situation. What can you were told earlier to start every day with a small to-do list. Oh my gosh, to-do lists. Yes, indeed, to-do lists. Wouldn't that be interesting? You're right. You're right. I've gotten depressed because I didn't have a schedule, but I never have a schedule. But the closest thing to it would have been a to-do list. My world has been lists. It's kind of funny to sit and make a list. I wonder if I have much time now. It's 8:05. Let's make a list. This should be fun. Oh, and painful. Hi, kitty. But once I've gotten myself completely vertical, you can't start walking when you're bent. Just in case anybody wants to know that's younger, that's coming into this. Maybe if you're older, you still need to know it. You have to completely straighten up after you stand up, and then you can start walking. Of course, you don't have to. You can slouch and try and make it across the room, but that this standing vertically puts no strain on the vertebrae. The muscles don't really like it, but it's putting no strain on the backbone, which is cool. Now, why in the world am I in here? I went through 2 doorways now. What does that mean? What am I here for? My journal. Ha, I remembered. It's because I could see it. Now I have to get down there to pick that up. Put my knee on here to support my back. Oh, there. Hi. Oh my goodness, they're here. So I must go. Goodbye.